This time, we'll open it up for questions for Coach Leaman. Questions for Coach.
Hi, Nate. Rich Thompson, Boston Herald. Just comment on, 4 overtime games against these guys in 2 years. Styles thing.
Yeah, I think the styles are really similar. I think, going into Miami 2 years ago, we were really wondering what we had under the hood, so to speak, because we knew it was going to be a great test. They pack their barn all the time, and they're perennially one of the best programs in the country. So I thought we went in there and we played terrific hockey, tied the first night and played really well. The second night, they kind of carried the play, but we found a way to get a late goal and tie it up. And then Zarnik made a heck of a play in overtime. But I think that set the tone for our season, that we know, hey, we had a pretty good squad, and we just wanted to keep improving. And then 2 years ago, in our building, I can just tell you how much respect our team had for theirs, that we were really up for that series. We wanted that series. But again, we were ahead a lot of that series, but they kept coming back, and with their good forwards, but we managed to get 3 points out of that series, and again, it kind of set the tone. That and winning the Mankato series, that kind of set the tone for our season. So we have a lot of respect for their team. I've got a lot of respect for their head coach. We know that it'll be fast hockey. I think it's going to be physical hockey, and it's going to be two teams, I think, kind of going after one another.
More questions for Coach Leaman. Mark?
Nate, the week after you lost to UNH, how did, knowing the uncertainty going forward, how did you and your staff approach that week of practice, knowing that it could be over on the following weekend?
Well, I think, going into it, the percentages were so good for us to make the tournament that we, behind closed doors, we felt pretty good about it. I mean, I think there was a 77% chance that we were going to make the tournament. So now, following the way we did after Friday night, yeah, then there was some anxiety. We practiced Saturday morning. It was probably one of the worst practices of the year, and I think it's just because everyone was anxious. But we prepared. We gave the guys a couple days off. Monday, Tuesday, we got back at it Wednesday. We had some good skates Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we told the guys we're approaching it like we're in the tournament. That's how we're approaching things. We need to work on some things. There are a couple things we didn't do well in the UNH series that we wanted to get better at. We kind of approached those things. We showed a very little bit of film, just one thing that we felt we really didn't do well in the UNH series that we wanted to get better at. And we just, from that point, it was kind of a little bit of a waiting game there Saturday. But once we got through Saturday, we've been okay. But hey, I mean, look, in our league, I mean, this has happened. We're not the only team that's happened to. It's happened to BC the past 2 years, where they've got knocked out the quarters and they made the NCAA tournament. So, that's college hockey. That's how good our league is. I feel is that we did the same thing to UNH 3 years ago, and they went in and they had a pretty good tournament. So.
Any more questions for Coach? In the back?
Hey, Coach. Hey. Nick Coy at ABC6. Obviously, you are playing in. You're playing in Providence, but you're playing at a different arena. You're playing at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. What is it about, things in terms of like the atmosphere, the ice surface that maybe the team had to adjust to today in practice, and what was it like for the guys to step out on this ice?
Well, first, I'm glad the guys didn't see the basketball locker room. That's pretty lights out. I got a tour of that. It was pretty good. Guys would have wondered why we weren't in there, but no, the lighting's a little different. Okay, I'm sure they're going to have more lights on for the game, but they had all the lights around the stands, so that made some shadows on the ice, especially around the nets. That was a little different, and the only other big difference is the lines. Okay, so we're playing with American League lines, just meaning that the neutral zone's smaller, the offensive zones are a lot bigger. We talked about it briefly on the ice. The boards, they're a little bit tighter behind the net. But look, all the teams have to adjust to it. It's something that you go out, you play, and the game's played on the ice, and we can't wait to get out there and play. But just some minor things that all teams will, be adjusting to.
Is there anything else for Coach Leaman? Jim?
Nate, for another little story I'm working on, and by the way, Mark is going to break you the bad news about the lights, because I don't think it gets any brighter, does it? If I would ask you, Jerry York,
Then scratch the whole comment about shadows. Can we edit that out, please? This is Providence. I want to be able to go into a restaurant, I don't want people throwing stuff at me.
Well, don't sit in dark corners in restaurants in Providence either.
I learned that day one. Huh? Back to the wall.
Asking about Jerry York, from someone who's been in the game as long as you have and coached as long as you have, how is Jerry looked upon in the coaching fraternity, if you will?
He's Grand Poobah, Look, I mean, the best thing about Jerry is that he's a classy guy. He's a first-class guy. He carries himself well, and that's something I think a lot of the younger coaches look up to. Is that he wins a lot of games, but he wins with class, and how he carries himself and how he conducts himself. And he's always got a positive attitude. Anytime you talk to him or anytime you run into him while you're recruiting, he's always very positive.
Anything else for Coach Leaman? Thank you very much.